my dear, when you enter any relationship, be it romantic, social, business, or otherwise, be careful what you permit in the beginning. Why did I say so? Because it will form the norm, it will set the pace and come to be expected. You know, entitlement is real. The kind of world we live in now, if you are if you are just cute and not brainy, they will shop you and clean mouths, because nowadays we have a lot of people, with bogus ideas, with a lot of entitlement, with unreal expectations, with unrealistic demands. So you need to know how to protect yourself. You have to use a lot of emotional intelligence these days in order to boycott a lot of manipulators, a lot of users out there, people that are just moving up and down, looking for how to reap where they've not sown. Don't make yourself a poor victim. You need to shine your eyes, right now. If not, you will enter, you know, the enemy's trap. You don't want to start what you can't finish, beside all this. You don't want to start what you can't finish. You need to, also manage your expectations, learn to manage the expectations of people around you, their ugly emotions, so that you don't, become their target, or you don't become their focus. When they think of anybody that will lift them out of poverty, you are the first person that comes to mind. No, you don't want, that's too much burden to put on anybody. So don't make yourself poor casualty. Don't make yourself be hated and punished for trying to be considerate in the first place. Trust me. For example, if you have to buy someone's friendship by letting them always have their way and manipulate you, be prepared to keep paying, and don't plan on changing them. Just think how difficult it is to change yourself. So what are your chances of changing anybody or somebody else? No, there is no guarantee. When it comes to other people, you have to do more than prayer. You have to do more than trusting. Change has to come from the person involved, the individual involved. If they're not willing to change, there is nothing you can do about it. You understand? So you have to learn to manage your expectations. Don't live and let others live. When people show you who they are, believe them. Don't wait till they prove themselves, or before you learn from experiences. No, experiences, don't have to be your best teacher right now. Look around you, shine your eyes, look at what is happening in the world, and learn from it. So you protect yourself early. Don't wait till you enter the pit before you start shouting and crying. No way. Use your brain right now. Decide now what you can live with later, and stop living like there is no tomorrow, because tomorrow comes whether you like it or not. Time is going. Tomorrow comes. You will meet, tomorrow. If you don't meet it, it will come and meet you. Yeah, so be ready. Solomon said, fear of man is a dangerous trap. We see this in Proverbs 29:25. TLB. That's remarkable. It shows that relationship can't thrive with one person calling all the shots while the other struggles for approval. No. No relationship can thrive, when one person is just the one, giving all the others, calling the shots, while the other person just timidly struggles for approval. Any relationship where you fear to speak up and can't feel freely make, any suggestions or certain demands, it's manipulative or toxic, and almost headed for the rocks, I can assure you, especially if things are allowed to stay that small way. Unless you are ready to work on it, unless two people agree to work on, make it work. One person cannot, it takes two to tango. No matter how you want to struggle, if the other person says no, this ends going nowhere. You can't make it happen. So decide now what you can live with later. Make sure you're in a relationship with somebody that can, agree with you, somebody that you see eye to eye with, somebody that, you can sit down and have intelligent discussions, somebody that is level-headed, that will, consider your own point of view, not someone that is always imposing their own ideas, that always want to have their own way with you. No, that is manipulative. You can't survive in that kind of toxic environment. So right now, before you start, making sacrifices or making investments or committing yourself, further into that relationship, pause and ponder. Is this the kind of person I want to do life with? Is this the kind of person I want to go further with? Because sometimes a lot of us, we see all these red flags and we ignore them because of desperation, because we want to belong. No, save yourself a lot of needless hassles. You don't need all those headache, my dear. I'm telling you. I also know that a lot of us had rather be killed by false love and flatteries than be saved by constructive criticism or, frank talks. Many of us hate anybody that will tell us the truth. We just want to be running with, lies and all kinds of things. No, you are headed for the rocks, if you want to toe that line. The need for human validation has not only driven many people into hellish situations, but denied them escape from there, we must admit. Many people have found themselves in deep holes because they're seeking for cheap validation from others. They want to be made right. They want to be seen as, being soft, being good people and everything. They want to be men pleasers. It has also denied them escape from there because they can't come out. When you enter and see the things that you've been dodging from, you don't know how to come out. Shame will not allow you to come out. When the red flags are there, maybe people were pointing or out all those faults, telling you don't go, beware. No, a lot of sentiments, a lot of wanting to the thing is be shacking you. By the time you jump in, and start seeing receiving all the hits, you will rather stay there, so people will not see you as a failure or, all those nonsense ideas they usually peddle and, when relationships, it's better to come out, be alive, than stay inside there and die. When you found out you've made a mistake, you found yourself in the hand of a manipulator, seek escape route, look for therapy, look for advice, consult others. Don't stay there and be playing, cheap victim. If you are a men pleaser, you are in dangerous ground and should retrace your steps, straight away before you fall into the pit and critically begin to gasp for air. A lot of people are in relationships where they are gasping for air, where they feel like they are being suffocated, where they are being choked, but they are not talking, they are silent, so that they want others to see them as being successful. Who are you impressing? Come out, talk. That is the beginning of your rescue. That's the beginning of your salvation. Don't stay. God gave you this mouth. Use it. Don't stay in a toxic environment and be taking in all the heat because you don't know how people will see you. Who are you impressing, by the way? Nobody cares. If you die inside there, they will bury you and the world will move on. Sharp, sharp. They are not waiting for anybody. See, fear of man is a snare. Paul said he had no interest in trying to make people accept him. His only interest was pleasing God. See Galatians 1:10 NCV. You see it there. How about you? You let fear rule you. So many people, they're in situations they can't do anything about because they're afraid. They're afraid of how the other person will react. They're afraid of how people will see them. No, don't let fear. Abnormal fear is not good for you. It weakens you. It keeps you at a spot where people are mashing you, people are stepping on you, people are causing you intense pain. And you can't seem to find your voice or do anything, to protect yourself. No, that is not where God wants you to be. That's not God's will for you. When you understand the love of God for you, his unconditional love for you, you know how not to settle for rubbish. You know how not to be less than he has, created you to be. Get this, my love. God will never, ever ask you to violate your value or disobey his will just to be in the good grace of another person. No way. In fact, it is better to be single or alone and thriving, be happy on your own, than to allow anyone other than God to control you. No, why? Why should somebody come and be controlling you? You are not a doormat. You are not their subject. You are a whole being. God created you with your brain, with your intelligence, with your gifts. He created you for a reason. He made you for his purpose, to fulfill his good pleasures. Don't allow anybody subject you to abnormal usage. Don't allow anybody, keep you down, where you are not able to even pursue your own dreams, where you are not even entitled to have your own dreams, to even have good wishes. What kind of life is that, my dear? No, are you thinking what I'm thinking? That's not a good place for you. If you are being manipulated to that extent, no, it is time to talk the talk. It is time to, maybe you have prayed about it, maybe you have talked, maybe you have, solicited, and all these things are not working. Maybe you have engaged them in heartfelt discussion, and they are not willing to change. My dear, this is the time to look for your way out. This is the time to seek maybe professional. Have you seen your pastor? Have you talked about it? Never keep silent. No, no. That is, it's when we keep silent, that's when we empower the manipulators. That's when we empower these narcissists, people that just want sadists. They don't want you to be happy. They just want to ruin your life. No, don't give them that power. Nobody has that power to control you. Nobody, what Satan and his cohorts of darkness, they don't have any power other than the one you give them. It's when you decide to make yourself willing participants in their nonsense. That's when they wield all those influences. But when you say no and stand your ground, and want to do God's way for your life, you want to, fulfill them. No, they don't have, their power will be broken. So make a decision today. Yeah, let people know upfront that while you had like their approval, yes, when you like their approval, you want them to like you, you want them to be in support of you, to agree with you. But let them also know that you can live without it if you have to. Don't ever get to a point, where you let others know that without them you cannot live, or if they don't agree with you, you will die. If they don't, oblige you, or do whatever you want, your life has finished. No, don't get to that level. Let your desperation not get to that level. And why even get desperate, to begin with? Why should you adopt that kind of defeatist attitude? Where is that thinking coming from, to even, if I should even ask you? Learn to respect others and make it clear you expect the same in return. I know respect is reciprocal, Don't ever get to the point where you demand for other people respect, and let them not demand it from you too. Respect is earned. It's something you earn, you don't demand it, you don't force it, you don't enforce it, you don't demand for it or start coercing others to give it. No. When it comes to that level of coercion, when people no longer solicit, for your approval, for your agreement in anything, for your cooperation, it becomes toxic. You don't need all that, my dear. Above all, never let emotion win over wisdom. Don't ever push wisdom by the side and become sheepish just because you want to, gain approval, just because you want others to accept you, or because you want to belong, or because you want to be liked. No. Don't be carelessly swayed by myopic concepts or ruled by the court of public opinion. Once you get to that point where you want to approve a public opinion, you are driven by public opinion, you are swayed by the court of public opinion. Your own don't finish now, because they will push you, push you, push you, push you, and you won't know where to even stand on your own. You don't even have your own voice. You don't have, your own opinion. You are just being driven here and there by all kinds of sophistries of men. Someone will come with one opinion, you go there. They come this way, you go there. You don't have a stand. You don't have a say in anything. Is that the kind of life you want to be? Is that where you want to, where you want to go? No, that's rubbish. You understand? Have a say and put healthy boundaries in place. When people come into your life, let them know that this is how far I can go. This is what I'm willing to take. If you go beyond this level, I may not take it, or you may collect. And when they actually break those boundaries, or break your rules, you make them see reason why they shouldn't try it next time. You make them collect. Don't keep shifting backwards. Maybe you tell them, please don't do this, and they intentionally do it, because that is the nature of human being. You want to keep trying, keep pushing back, keep breaking the limits. We are trying to test the other person and know how far you can go with them. You know what they can allow or disallow. You understand? In case you've received a few strokes or suffered a lot of wrongdoings in the hand of these manipulators, I call them crooked folks, cheaters, abusers, and users of mankind. Then this is not the time to trade on blames at all. This is not the time to be hard on your kind hearts. No, I don't want you, because of your nasty experiences so far, to ever think you are not smart enough, to avoid getting manipulated like that. No, don't go on berating yourself for not being perceptive enough, to have seen them coming in the first instance. The thing is, these exploiters are most times so subtle in their approach. They are so cunning. A little suggestion there, some jokes, here, a pat on the back there. Today they are love bombing you and breaking down your defenses gradually with their sweet talk of nonsense, And when you are already, and when you've already thrown open the doors and windows of your heart, or seem to be softening your hard babe or hard guy era, and now sucking it all in, you find them withdrawing and leaving you terribly starving, terribly starved of the fine emotion, to the point you start wondering, where did all the sweetness, where have all the sweetness gone? Where did all the promises, whatever they have told me, all the sweet nonsense they were whispering in my ears, where did it all go? You start just, they leave you more confused than ever. So this is not the time to blame yourself. Everybody, we are all prone to mistakes. We are all human beings, susceptible to errors. So if you have made a mistake, just accept it. Own up your mistakes and don't berate yourself anymore. That makes it worse. They are not helping matters, when you go on, accumulating and entertaining all those failure thoughts, something is telling you are a failure because you failed. No, you are not a failure because you failed. You are only a failure when you stop trying, when you accept, the verdict of the enemy and put a stop to your life. No, don't pause your life in any way. If you have made a mistake, this is the time to pick something off the floor and keep moving, right? Believe me, this is the time to say goodbye to whatever the enemy had gone, close the door to the past, and not allow it get you introduced to crisis and the journey of walking about with lots of emotional hang-ups, no. Don't allow all those solid details of the past, to derail you or pause your life. You understand? I've also come to realize that success in any relationship is not hinged on having a higher intellect. It's not about knowing all the winning formulas. No, that's why we often see that even the smartest of us has been hoodwinked at a time, and up till now many brilliant but unwary souls, many of us are very unsuspecting, so we are still getting caught up in the manipulators ever widening web of deceit. That's why it's not safe to largely rely on human understanding and strength, because man is limited and susceptible to errors. Like I've stated, we all make mistakes. Nobody knows if or every day we are learning. As you are learning, how to adapt, the manipulators themselves, they are learning new tricks. They are coming out with a lot of ploys, a lot of you with your good heart, with your unsuspecting attitude and everything. You are just doing your own thing. You meet people, you are just open. You think you are you think you are dealing with human beings, but these ones, they have a lot of things up their sleeves. They have a lot of tricks, they have a lot of motives. You as a human being, you can't read other people's hearts. It's only God that knows what is inside someone's heart, unless he gives you the discerning heart, this the spirit of discernment. And that is what you have to also pray for at this end time, so that we will not be caught up in the enemy's ever widening web of deceit, so that we will not enter the trap set by all these manipulators and all that, so that from afar off we can even sense them. You understand? Being created in the image and likeness of God gives us a lot of amazing potentials. One of those potential is the gift of an amazing eye to see what others commonly miss and they ignore. when people are talking to you, you can you read, you hear beyond their words. You look into their eyes, you're able to see the eyes. They are talking, they're smiling, but the eyes are hard. You can see a lot of things. You can see hidden things. You can sense when someone comes to you with a negative energy or with a bad spirit. You're able to discern it. You understand? You are not just so unsuspecting, so simple like that, so blinded, to all their manipulations, to all their tricks. You don't wait till you are already caught up and you've suffered a lot of harm before you begin to detect or suspect something. So this is a time to also be prayerful and ask God to help you to able to discern, just not to see everybody, take everything at surface level. This is the time to go beyond. To have, you have to be a deep person. You have to be someone that is connected with the spirit of God, so that the spirit of wisdom will also help you, to save yourself a lot of needless hassles in this end time. Now, I don't know what's going on with you as we speak. Maybe your own is that you're emotionally drained already. Maybe you are broken and in dire need of a healing. It could also be that you just want to discover ways, better ways to effectively avoid manipulative people from getting to you. Or it could be you just want to stop getting lost in the hype outside there. Whatever it is, those are genuine concerns, also needing genuine attention. By the special grace of God, I've been prepared and sent to you for a time like this. For long now, the Spirit of God, the Spirit of wisdom, has been, teaching me some of these relationship stuffs. He has been downloading anointed ideas into my spirit. Besides, I've come a long way, I've come from a past that I'm not too proud of, and I've had my own share of kissing frogs, romping in the mud, and hopping in the fray. Yes, I've failed a fair number of times in my own relationships and, gathered all manner of lessons off the floor. So, by virtue of where I've been and where I'm currently situated at, I can't boast of being a saint. I won't be downplaying all of human frailties and sufferings in this regard, but I'm fortunate to have gotten enough hindsight, insights, and foresights already to be able to, boldly profess some kind of solutions to some of these things. I can even attempt to break down obstacles, barriers that are rooted in stupid biases, gender stereotypes, societal expectations, and all the other rubbish that, keep many of us in dead end situations and marinating in our miseries. You know, I've overcome a lot of all those things that usually keep people behind, things that people are still focused on and miss the mark. No, that's why I can point you towards a better deal. That's why I can take your hand and lead the way. I'm aware that walking through this dangerous season when manipulators are running all over town, painting everywhere red. I know this time calls for some level of clarity and, prudence from all of us. I mean, you and I need a lot of, emotional intelligence. We need to work in decency. We need higher use of diplomacy and rugged tenacity, both in our approach to things and relationships with people of different sizes, class, and colors. This is the time to form, better characters. This is the time to have a standard. You can't afford to behave anyhow. Like Nigerians, we say, if you do anyhow, you collect anyhow. If you are anyhow, you see anyhow. No, this is the time to operate, to think differently and operate by a different set of rules. If you want to really enjoy peace of mind, if you want to, have the joy that, the world cannot give you. if you want to enjoy the help of God, the help of the Holy Spirit, then you have to not think like the world. You have to not operate, in their manner. You need to be different. Another thing is, we can't afford to be nicer than wiser this time around. Otherwise, you will be easily had for breakfast. A lot of people, their eyes are red, these manipulators, they don't send anybody. If you don't know how to package yourself well, if you don't know how to walk circumspectively in an evil world, remember what Jesus told us, that we need to be as wise as serpents and as gentle as doves. You need to create meaningful balance. You need to know how to balance things. You can't tilt to the extreme at this time around. If not, you tilt, over the edge. You know, you need to be calculated. You need to know how to be composed. You need to know how to carry yourself with a sense of dignity. You need to walk decently. You need to know how to talk. You need to, because quality attracts quality. Because you can't be thinking of avoiding manipulators, and you are working in manipulative ways. You are portraying, yourself in a bad light that will attract this kind of people. Because whether you like it or not, if you ooze out timidity, if you ooze out, someone that is unsure of herself, if you ooze out, the air of negativity, you will attract these negative people to you. You attract people with weak character, people of poor taste. You attract users. So it matters how you perceive yourself, how you carry yourself, how you say things, how you talk, how you do things generally. You have to also put that into perspective. That's why you need to know how not to dig your own pit and bury yourself inside. So yes, we will gladly break the ceiling in this, topic that I'm currently handling. And guess what? I'm trusting the wisdom of God to lead and help us crack open the mystery box and cut away all our choice goods. Yes, we are not leaving anything behind. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of unpacking to do tomorrow, a lot of, revealing of stuff, a lot of, guidance, a lot of inspiration, a lot of, impartation and all that. No animal in human clothing called a manipulator or whatever can snitch up on us or dare to stop us. Let them dare now. Yeah, we will do a quick one tomorrow. For the time being, please like, comment, and share this video. Also, subscribe if you haven't done that already. I don't want you to miss any parts of the interesting ideas coming up on this space. Believe me, it's gonna be hot and loaded henceforth. Stay blessed and bye for now.